Welcome to Real Reviews. This week we got a movie called Hereditary. Definitely one of the most messed up movies I have seen in quite a while.
Yeah, man, it was...
Top 5, easy. I don't know what was happening.
You know, the trailer leads you to believe that it's about a family trying to cope with the loss of their matriarch, like the grandmother.
Yeah.
And then the trailer leads you to believe that because the grandmother's gone, the grandmother and the granddaughter were very close. So you're led to believe that something's going to happen with the granddaughter. The granddaughter might go crazy or something. This is what I gathered from the trailer.
Which was good, though, because something happens at the midway point in the movie. I was like...
I was going to say, like, from what I thought was going to happen in the trailer and what the movie was actually about... it was a complete shock. I was so surprised. Because it wasn't even halfway through the movie. It happened...
Was it? I don't know, but when it happened...
probably a half hour in where me and you both, our jaws hit the floor. I was like, okay,
I didn't expect it.
Oh, yeah.
The last thing I expected to happen in this movie happens.
Essentially, the family's dealing with grief. and the family's trying to deal with it in their own ways. You have the son, and then the mother and the father trying to deal with grief, the daughter. And so... it's kind of like with each of them, but what the director does is he puts in these visuals, the way it's shot. Because there was twice I looked at you in the movie, I was like, did you see that? And you were like, no. And I was like, am I seeing things? and by the end of the movie, when it's starting to wrap up, it leads me to believe that I was seeing these things, you just didn't catch them. Because he films like a scene where it's in the dark and you can barely see a silhouette in a corner, and you're like, is that something right there?
But then you expect it to be a scare then, because like a normal horror movie would.
No jump scares.
No.
This is purely psychological, where you're just like, what's going to happen? I get shivers talking about it. Because there's no jump scares. You don't have to worry about a loud crash and a scary face. This feeds off your fear. It's all mental. You're like, my God, that is something standing in the corner of the room.
Then you're like, what's going to happen? But it doesn't happen. Then you just don't know what's going on. And you hear things like a little noise, and I'd be like, at first I'm like, is there something behind me making a weird noise in the theater, clearing their throat? And you're like, no, it's in the movie.
So the daughter makes a clucking sound.
Almost like
a tongue click. So the very first time she does it, I was yawning. And I thought it came out of my mouth. The sound was so well done.
It's quiet and subtle. They don't put it in your face like you're supposed to hear it.
And then I noticed too, with the sound, there would be 10 minutes of just a heart beating, and it's getting faster and faster, and I'm like, am I hearing that? Is this right? Everything that this guy did pieced together so well for such a frightening experience when there's no jumpy parts. This was pure just in ya, Whew.
The only thing I'm going to say that I didn't like about this movie is the very end.
Me too.
Being said, there was a better place that could have ended the movie or how it ended. There's nothing like seeing something or not. It's hard to say. Or not seeing something, and then you kind of guess to yourself oh, this is why it happened. This is why this happened. But they flat out show you. I think at the very end, they show you exactly what they meant to do the whole time, which I don't think they need to. You piece it together by the end of the movie yourself. And then I know some people are going to see the ending and be like, well, they ruined it with the ending.
Yeah.
I know they're going to say that. It was a little too far out there for me as well. But
I feel that way.
I understand why.
I feel that the movie, it was long. I feel that maybe they could have wrapped it up a little sooner. And if they wrapped it up... the way we're thinking.
I thought the movie was over at one point. I'm like, hey, that's it.
Yeah.
And then there's still another 10 minutes. I thought that was it.
It wraps up and you're like, son of a gun. What do they do now? You try and think okay, even though the credits are rolling, what would happen in this place?
Well, that was the problem though. Everybody when a movie ends always tries tries to think ahead, like what would happen.
Yeah.
So if you ended at one point, you could have come to the conclusion that they showed you in the movie.
Yeah.
Whereas now you're seeing the conclusion. Everybody's like, well, what would happen now?
Right.
Which is like completely weird.
Right.
You know?
Completely out there.
Yeah. Would I recommend Hereditary? I would say yes. I think it's 80% drama to horror, actually. It can be a little slow in the beginning because you go in expecting a horror movie and they give you enough of a taste, but for hardcore horror fans, they might be a little disappointed and thinking like, this is more of a drama than what I expected. But by the end, they ramp it up, trust me. The creepy factor, like you said, is through the roof.
Yeah.
But I wish they wouldn't have done that with the ending. But it's enough not to make me hate it.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5 for me as well. Toni Collette, who plays the mom, outstanding. 2 thumbs up. Like, her acting. I wish the Academy kind of recognized horror movies, but unfortunately, this genre is really just
recognized by MTV Movie Awards.
Yeah. So her performance, outstanding. Actually, across the board, the entire family was just so good. And like I said, I haven't seen a good psychological horror in a long time. And like just talking about it gave me a little bit of goosebumps. So definitely one that don't expect, like you said, a classic horror. If you're expecting something maybe a little bit out there, check it out.
Yeah, definitely check it out. And check out our Facebook page and give it a like. Give a like to the review of Hereditary, or leave a comment about anything you want to say. Just don't spoil the movies. That's all we ask. If you do any one of those things, you're going to win a gift certificate to Perkins Restaurant and Bakery. And next week,
we've been waiting how long?
16 years.
Holy, I was a wee
years.
lad.
Yeah, The Incredibles 2.
Incredibles 2.